This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's the week of July 31st, 2020, and it's the Relevant Podcast. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang. And before I introduce the cast, I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Life Journal. What if there was one place that you could do your quiet time, journaling, scripture reading, praying, note-taking in the same space as all of your goal-setting, habit tracking, planning the day, week, and month? Life Journal combines both your spiritual life and your day-to-day life together into one planner. Life Journal is a 13-week, gospel-focused daily planner and journal designed to clarify and focus who you are created and called to be. Organize your day, accomplish your goals, and grow in your spiritual disciplines. Your daily planner and journal is more than just checking boxes. It's setting your day before the Lord. You can start your day with thankfulness, schedule out your day, study His Word, and create actionable tasks to move you closer to your goals. Go check it out. You can get a free 7-day sample and 40%, off your first Life Journal at gospelfocus.com/relevant. Start something new today that will help you organize your day, accomplish your goals, and grow in your faith. It takes 30 seconds to get your free 7-day sample at gospelfocus.com/relevant. I actually have one right here. It's fantastic. Look at that. It's the one thing, this is for real. This is the one thing that I've been lacking in the quarantine is structure. And so when I got my Life Journal, I was like, I'm going to sit down and actually do this thing. And it actually is really great. I've only been using it a few days, but I love it. All right. Like I said, I'm your host, Cameron. Joining me from Loverland, Virginia, Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Austin, Texas, author and podcaster, Jamie Ivey.
Hey, guys.
And from Nashville, Tennessee, producer, entrepreneur, artist, MC, Derek Miner.
We switched it up to a new one. We doing a new one.
What was that one?
It's a new one. I don't know. It just came out.
Just workshopping. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want to switch it up from the what up though. You know what I mean?
You got to
switch it up.
You feel me? Yeah. If the concrete sets, then you're stuck for years with the same thing.
Trust me,
man, I'm like on autopilot. It's just like habit, muscle memory, saying the same phrases. But you got to mix it up early, and then you can keep it fresh. I like that.
I can keep it fresh. You know what I'm saying? Like my married life. You know, sometimes I just walk in. You know what I'm saying? With a super soaker and just squirt my wife in the face with one just for no reason.
No, you do not.
No, I absolutely don't. I don't at all. She's black and her hair would.
I was going to say I would not recommend that.
She'd kill me. So I'm just lying for TV.
I've realized I love pranking people. Well, I mean that should be pretty evident to anyone who's listening to the show. Like I get a lot of enjoyment. I've realized that pranking spouses doesn't usually work out well. Usually they don't. Even if they find the humor in it, it's like then they're just walking on eggshells. When is the next prank coming? It's just this is marriage advice from someone who does not get very much marriage advice. If you come up with a great prank idea, don't prank your spouse. Prank somebody else. Prank a neighbor, a friend.
Buddy.
Exactly. Have you seen during the quarantine, there was viral TikTok videos of people filming themselves throwing slices of cheese on another person?
Yeah.
I saw videos of a husband doing that to his wife, and she got so mad by the end of it. I'm like, what is your end game here?
Exactly. That's why here's my thing.
To not have sex, that was the end game.
You're throwing cheese on your wife. She doesn't want it.
That was the end game.
Like I said, I consider myself a pretty good humored person that is difficult to get riled. But if I'm just sitting there, let's just say I'm on the couch on the laptop, just doing whatever, and a piece of cheese hits me in the face, right? just at the least possible expected time, I would just look at me like, Dan, are you serious right now? Is that a piece of cheese stuck to my face? Why? Well, one, you're wasting cheese. This house goes through a tremendous amount of cheese, and that pace, no one's going to want to eat that. It's on my face. Now I'm going to feel obligated to eat the cheese because I'm not going to throw it away, but it's nasty face cheese, even though it's my face. Let's just not do the cheese thing. There are other funny things that we can do with a slice of cheese if we want to just amuse ourselves with it,
Well, we have a great show coming up for you today. Coming up later, we talked to Needtobreathe. They have a brand new album coming out August 28th, and you will get your first look at it here on the show. Also, at the end of the show, we're going deep, y'all. We have a British astrobiologist and minister coming up. His name is Lucas Mix, and he is an expert on UFOs and the intersection of theology and science.
Okay.
Jesse, this is for you.
This is so exciting because I was actually, me and Huckabee, me and Tyler were texting this morning. He's like, hey man, what's your, do you know what your slice is today? And I was like, dude, and I'm just going to give a foreshadowing here. It's, I honestly, I'm so excited about this slice. I really just want to jump right to it, but we'll wait. But let's just say it will provide some context for the interview that's coming up.
Yeah, this is the first time.
Tyler and I have already talked about this, and he's like, okay, he's like, you're going to save me a lot of the setup if you can just do it. I'm very excited about this interview and my slice coming up.
Yeah, so this is the first time in 15 years of podcasting that we actually are going to have a slice set up the next segment. So it's just wonderful how it works out. But when we were planning out the episode, it was like the idea of, we usually have like A-list guests, big authors, artists, and Tyler was like, I'm talking to this Christian astrobiologist about UFOs next week. I was like, he's on the podcast. I mean, there's
absolutely he is. Like, I got some hot takes, and I'm just gonna save it because I'm gonna wait for slices. But I'm very eager to discuss this topic.
All right, well, moving the show along, it is time for
it's the hot list. It's sizzling.
Hot List, where we bring on Relevant senior editor Tyler Huckabee to bring us a few items that we've been covering over at relevantmagazine.com this week. Well, I know you got a packed lineup today, so take it away.
All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about this week is the pandemic, which is still going on, because we have had some interesting updates that might give us here in the lay a little bit of insight into the direction things might be going with COVID-19, especially as it relates to us here in the U.S. And I want to start by talking a little bit about what's going on in Tinseltown out there in Hollywood. So most movies have delayed the crazy lefties out in Hollywood. Even they are running scared from this thing. So most movies.
Those in the lamestream media? I'm all ears. Let me just take my hydroxychloroquine and you can continue.
Stop, bro. You about to have the comments lit.
I don't care.
So most major tentpole releases in 2020, like Marvel's Black Widow, Disney's Star Wars movies, the Fast and the Furious franchise, they have all delayed and have not really announced a firm new release date yet. Star Wars says it doesn't plan on having any new releases until 2023 at least. Black Widow, which is done in the can, was supposed to be out already, is just collecting dust right now. That nobody knows when that one's going to come out. Fast and the Furious right now, tentatively targeting a 2021 release date, but even that is up in the air. One big exception to all of this is Warner Brothers' Tenet, directed by Christopher Nolan, hugely anticipated. People are really excited about this movie, but we don't know when it's going to come out now. They are now on their third attempt at a firm launch day, right now targeting Labor Day weekend here in the U.S. Over in Europe, where things are a little bit safer, it's going to get a little bit wider release. But here, it sort of surprises me that WB feels this confident that people are going to feel safe going to a movie theater again in just a couple of weeks here. Like, this is Labor Day is coming right up, and I don't know how many movie theaters really even feel safe going in. I'm sure there's some Christopher Nolan diehard. I want to see what this movie's about, but I don't want to see it that badly personally. So we're gonna I would not be surprised if that ends up changing.
No, listen, y'all, this is crazy, and I hope no one thinks bad about me and my family, but my son got his first job this summer, and guess where it is?
Draft House Cinema.
Yeah,
it's at our movie theater.
Is that the $5 college theater, Jesse?
So it's at the movie theater. It's a really nice movie theater. And he was at work the other day and he's like, I need you to come get me early. We just got shut down. And like something happened. They didn't meet a criteria, but I dropped him off today.
I can't believe the movie theater is hiring right now.
He got this job today. He's working delivering drinks and popcorn. That's his duty today. And they all wear masks. And I asked him, he said they sanitize the movie theater after every show. I don't know exactly what that means, but you could go see Karate Kid, Zootopia, Avengers, Invisible Man. They just have these random movies that you could go see. And I'm dying to go to a movie.
Sure,
That's
sure.
what I miss so much.
I'm dying to see, particularly to see, I mean, Tyler, I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan, but, and from my understanding, Tenet has actually moved the release date several times backed by several weeks and almost like teasing fans, but
millions of dollars they've dumped into these new marketing campaigns that then are useless.
And I was listening to there's a podcast called The Big Picture that is on the Ringer Network where they have some kind of inside track on Warner Brothers and their relationship with Christopher Nolan. And I guess Christopher Nolan, he is sort of an auteur. He's sort of a brand of his own and feels extremely strongly that all his films should be experienced in a movie theater. Like The Dark Knight's a great example. He was shot on to a massive additional expense, special cameras that could only be viewed with certain types of projectors on certain types of screens that were only available in certain parts of the country. But he felt like artistically that was the move to make. So from my understanding with Tenet is he wants to get it out as soon as possible. And he sees himself as, potentially the person that will save the theater industry, because this could be one of the first movies that people are willing to take some sort of calculated risk to go see. That's not a risk. I've seen every Christopher Nolan movie. I love it. There hasn't been one movie I haven't walked out and been like, that was awesome. But I don't think it's worth risking. Not yet. I think there are probably things that can be put into place to make it safe. But I don't know. I really want to go to the movies too, but I don't know when I'll feel totally comfortable with it.
I do want to support the Ivy family's young entrepreneurs. And,
I think it's awesome that
if anything's going to get me to come out to the theaters, it's Zootopia as a retread.
Right? I know, on the big screen. There it is.
Dude, some people are just desperate enough. Like, it was raining here at one point over the weekend really hard. And so you can't go outside. You can't, there's nowhere to go. It's not like, hey, take the kids, we're going to go to the mall. It's like everyone's just sitting in the house. I'm like, today's one of those days where I'd be worth risking it. Like, just this whole family, just go sit in a quiet theater for a while.
I went to Disney over the weekend with Cohen. So
gotta edit that out. We can't we gotta edit that. We're gonna the hate mail,
dude. No, it's like it was the best day and the safest thing ever. It was
because
insane.
There were no lines.
First of all, they limited it to 15% of the normal capacity, so they weren't running the trams because everybody parked by the front door. I mean, you just walked right up. There were no lines. We literally would go on a ride, get off, and go right back on it because you just walk right back on. There's no lines. They had everybody had masks. All the lines were marked with 6-foot social distancing, and there were dividers and stuff like that. So you got nowhere near anybody. When we got on the ride, we were the only two people on our car. Like, it wasn't like they were just staggering rows. It was like on the ride vehicle, you're the only one, And then for food and stuff, everything was mobile ordering. So you had to, if you just wanted a Coke or you wanted a sandwich, you had to do it on the app, and then it was waiting for you. So you didn't talk to anybody. You didn't swipe a credit card. Like, it literally was like the safest day. It was wonderful.
This is why I'm wondering about if I go back to a Texas game, what it's going to be like.
Yeah. But here's the thing that I'm wondering about the economics, right? So Disney is obviously operating at 15% of the revenue they normally would have. That's better than zero, but it's not sustainable. And so I'm looking at Christopher Nolan, like if they did open a theater, it's going to be limited capacity. They're going to have a fraction of their bodies that they normally would have. So therefore, do the math, a fraction of the revenue. Why bother? I would just wait until they can go to 100% capacity.
Yeah.
Caden says there's like 4 people in each movie.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing is, like, if this is, how long do you wait though? Especially because it doesn't seem like, politically, there's a lot of energy towards giving us a significant amount more money. And then if you're a movie theater, you're not going to get much money at all. So you're kind of off on your own. So I get the idea of chancing it. I just don't know if it's going to work. If you're a business, you're thinking, man, well, 15% is better than 0%,
But then there's all those operational costs, and that's what makes it a thing like Tenet so complicated, is because how studios actually set the budgets for these films. And a lot of times the production budgets are, almost match one for one with the marketing budget. So if they say, hey, I'm pulling a number out of the sky. I don't know what the production budget, but it's probably in the neighborhood of $150 million. We're talking to Christopher Nolan here. That's going to be an additional $100 million just for marketing. So the way a studio comes up with that number, it's always reverse engineered, right? So if it's like a kid's movie, they throw in like merchandise and licensing and that kind of thing into the equation. So they know even if we don't sell the movie tickets, we know we'll sell enough toys and lunch boxes or whatever for, the new Moana or whatever. But with a movie like Christopher Nolan, where there isn't merchandise, it isn't part of the equation, it really is reverse engineered from, okay, what is the margin we need to make as a studio? And then how many, at the end of the day, butts and seats does that equate to on the first 3 weeks that it's out? And if we don't hit those numbers, we won't make up the budget. And if we don't make up the budget on a Christopher Nolan movie, we're talking writing down, $60 to $100 million in losses here. I mean, it's a huge gamble to release it early,
Have you seen, you're talking about like certain industries and government support come back. Have you seen the bill? A couple of senators are trying to push a bill specifically to help the live music venue industry because there's no path back for them. And so many of those independent venues just won't be able to make it. Yeah. And it's like, it's a Save Our Music kind of legislative campaign that they're trying to push through. But like, think about that. I mean, at least with a movie theater, social distancing can be implemented in the physical seats, right? People could feel a sense of safety at some level, but live music, I'm standing there with 100 other people. If somebody comes up and crowds me, there's just not the ability to control the environment. It's going to be tough for live music to come back. When is that? Next summer?
Thanks, Cameron.
I'm just saying. I think about you, man. I think about your industry. It's like,
Derek, I'll go to a show. You name the time
I'll risk it for you, Derek.
I'll be there.
But I would prefer that you perform before a showing of Tenet.
My shows are madhouses. Like, there's no way that you're gonna have a Derek Minor show and social distance. Like, that's literally what makes the show the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there's 150 people just in a small space going crazy, or or if it's it's like I like having those grunge, like my joints are almost like punk rock, like just throw people on crowd surfing and all of that. That's what makes a show fun when you get a freaking tooth knocked out. Like, that's not going to happen during COVID-19, and we got plastic glass between each person. Like, I'm not looking forward to COVID
baseball
concert.
We tried, and now look what's happening. I mean,
it's true. 72 hours after baseball starts, there's an outbreak, and they're talking about shutting down the whole year.
I will say artistic, and this is not an original take. I've read this a couple places, and Tyler, you've probably seen this out there too. But the surprise Taylor Swift album that she dropped with Bryce Dresner from The National, Jack Antonoff, and Bon Iver. I'm sure a lot of listeners were able to check that out too. It's a very quiet album, but really, really great. But the takes that I was kind of reading is like, look, if it wasn't for the pandemic and no stadium shows, we probably would have never got this album, because Taylor Swift, as great of an artist as she is, and I'm not, this isn't any knock on her artistic integrity, but she writes music for stadium tours, right? Like, this is not, this Folklore, her album, is not an album that anyone will want to hear a stadium show in. It's an intimate, quiet album. All the songs build to nothing. You know what I mean? There is no Taylor Swift anthem. And if it wasn't for something like the pandemic, we might not have, this album might not exist, because this is an album that she could tour. But because for the foreseeable future, especially stadium shows, I think there might be a chance that nightclubs and things can try to go under the radar. But there's no way people are going to stadium shows. I think it kind of provided an artistic window for at least that album to kind of come together. But it will be interested to see, and Derek, I'm interested in your perspective too, on how artists are going to adapt if kind of live touring is scaled back for a while. I mean, do you see like virtual shows and things like that in the future, Derek?
Man, I hate to be a doom and gloom type guy, but so the middle class of artists in the music industry was already being squashed out by streaming. Like that, because where streaming is at now, to even, obviously you're only making like half a penny per stream. And so the main thing is playlists. But now it's all majors on any playlist that move the needle. So the working class artists, that was the thing. It's like, okay, I'll put my stuff out and I don't have to get on a playlist, but my shows will bring people to my platform or whatever. And I think you're going to see a lot of artists pivot in that middle lane, because it's not many artists. Like for myself, right now I'm working on like lo-fi music and I mix and master stuff for people. But what about the guy that's just like, I'm just a guitar lead singer. That's what I do. That guy's in trouble because, and even not even that guy, or the guy that's like, I signed an awful record deal that I'm not making any money off the albums anyway, but I get so much money from touring, I don't care. That guy's in trouble too. So if something doesn't happen, you're going to see a lot of pivots, but you're also I think you're going to see other artists that you may have never seen rise, the ones that are able to make social media work for them. But I just don't really see that for the common artist, though.
It's going to be interesting in 2021 to see. It's like TV, like the stuff, like this year is affecting next year's television releases. This year is affecting next year's movie releases. This year is affecting music as well. I mean, like, I'm just kind of thinking like, right now, they are releasing stuff made 9 months ago, 6 months ago. There's going to be a gap of a lack of entertainment, like coming up in the next year because of the season we're in now. And like you said, how many independent artists and middle class artists are going to be able to kind of make it all the way through? I mean, it's a long road until things get back to normal.
Road. Yeah. And then I don't know if people think about this, but who's going to get premium access to the small to medium venues? It's going to be the big artists, like maybe a Taylor Swift that says, hey, I'm going to do this intimate show at this 1,500 seat venue. It's not going to be the middle, like the artist that's lower middle class that would normally get that venue. It's going to be the big artists that are scaling their shows down. So then that's going to even further stamp out that artist, which I feel like that's where some of the best music is made, within those types of artists. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Well, after that little cheerful update.
What else you got, Tyler?
Yeah, so obviously we're headed towards not only health, but financial, economic, and even artistic ruin in the very near future.
Thanks. But I don't know if you guys heard about this. It turns out honeybees are in trouble. Here's the news.
I did want to, this was kind of a ongoing story that appears to have at least kind of wrapped up towards the end of last week. So we'll try to get as much of it together as we can. So I want to talk, there's an organized group that has done a lot of great work that we're big fans of, is Bread for the World, led relatively recently by coming under new leadership with Eugene Cho. On their board of representatives is a guy by the name of Ted Yoho. He's a representative down there in Florida, and he is the gentleman who was overheard by a reporter from The Hill using a vulgar sexist slur that we cannot say on this particular podcast, using that against Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You probably saw some of the news about this that got passed around last week, but in short,
well, she responded to it on the congressional floor.
She did. Yeah, she did. In short, it sounds like Yoho came up to AOC on the steps of the House, said she was out of her freaking mind for some comments she had made that said that poverty might be a factor in increasing crime rates in New York City. She told him that he was being rude, and then he used this slur against her. Now, initially, and this is where things get kind of interesting, Yoho denied the report. He said he is the father of 2 daughters, and that makes him very cognizant of the language he uses around women, his word there. He did say he was sorry if his words words were construed that way, but said, quote, "I cannot apologize for my passion or for loving my God, my family, and my country." So that was his explanation of what
not
happened.
you, Tyler, but this Ted Yuhu or whatever his name is. Like,
But it was confirmed that he actually said it, right? I mean, a reporter heard him say it.
So he has not said, yes, this is what I said. But like you said, Cameron, so he denied it. And then AOC went to the House floor to after his non-apology. And then, Clark, I sent over a clip of the speech that she gave there. Would you mind pulling that up?
What I am here to say is that this harm that Mr. Yoho tried to levy against me was not just an incident directed at me. But when you do that to any woman, what Mr. Yoho did was give permission to other men to do that to his daughters. He gave, in using that language in front of the press, he gave permission to use that language against his wife, his daughters, women in his community. And I am here to stand up to say that is not acceptable.
Good for her.
That's me, because that speech was fire.
It's an excellent speech, and I don't think you have to necessarily agree with all of her politics to find the speech that she gave pretty moving. The whole thing is posted over Irrelevant, and I would encourage you to take a few minutes out of your day to go check that out. So following that, the Bread for the World did release a statement saying they were concerned and they were reaching out.
I think buried in all that is the fact that Yoho is a board member of this Christian nonprofit, Bread for the World.
Right.
So
Former,
that came
he
out.
resigned.
Yeah, that came out. Yeah.
Right. So after that, Bread for the World did release a statement. They sent to us saying they were concerned. They were reaching out to Representative Yoho to get more details about it. And then at the beginning of this week, they announced that he had been removed from the board. They said that the resignation came out of a desire to, quote, affirm our commitment to coming alongside women and people of color nationally and globally as they continue to lead us to a more racially inclusive and equitable world. A statement went on to say, during this critical time in our nation in which millions depend on U.S. government leadership and improved public policies that center on those most impacted by the COVID-19 crisis, it is our hope and prayer that government leaders will find the moral courage and political will to foster healing and civil dialogue that leads to real structural change in our country and globally. I thought that was quite a good statement, and not, to be honest, not something that I really expected from that. They went farther than I thought they did. And I would say good on the remaining board members there and Eugene Cho for holding themselves to a high moral standard. Well, to a relatively high moral standard, let's be honest here. But it's more than I expected.
Honestly, same. I mean, we've seen this happen in the past where it's like the organization just tries to wait out the news cycle, like give it a week or so. People won't be so inflamed. They'll forget. It'll go back to normal, and they don't act. And so, Bread for the World, to their credit, took immediate action and corrected the situation. So good for them.
Probably helped a little bit that Eugene Cho recently released a book called "Thou Shalt Not Be a Jerk" about how to engage in civil dialogue with people you disagree with politically.
That's amazing.
I just appreciate that. Like after he gives like a non-apology, he's just like, by the way, and then says he won't apologize for something no one is asking him to apologize for. Just so you know, I won't apologize for my passion for America or my God. And I if I get pulled over for speeding, I'm gonna be like, officer, I just want to let you know something. I'm not going to apologize for my passion for America or God. So I think we cleared this up here.
It reminds me of the guy with the that didn't want to kneel because he only kneels to God. The baseball player or whatever. It's like, bro, nobody asked you to bow down and worship anything. Did you not take a knee when you played Pop Warner football and you were running the clock out? Did you not take a knee when you proposed to your wife? Like, did you not take a knee to tie your shoe. Fool. Nobody asking you. Nobody is asking you to turn your back on God.
This isn't a Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego situation.
Brother, you're trying to make it seem like you are in the fiery furnace, and the Black Lives Matter God is like, you either worship me or you worship God. You know, it's like you just sound dumb.
Next time,
just stop.
Next time you do something, next time any listener does something wrong at work and their bosses or manager getting on them, you're like, listen, I just want you to know, I'm not going to apologize for my passion for America. So if that's what this is, I'll send a memo out in the next font, the right font next time. But I'm just letting you know, passion for America is off the table. Are we clear? Yeah.
I'm sorry if my getting the spreadsheets to you too late was construed as me being behind deadline, quote unquote.
But just so you know, this doesn't have to do with my passion for America, does it? Because I will not apologize, sir or ma'am.
Goodbye, Representative YOLO. Bro, you're out of here. Get out of here, bro.
All right, well, that'll do it for this week's.
It's the high list. The high list. It's sizzling.
For more content like that, check out Tyler's daily podcast, Relevant Daily. It's about 10 minutes where we are bringing you what you need to know at the intersection of faith and culture. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's Need to Breathe.
So hang on to the light in your eyes and the feeling. Hang on to your love drawn for no reason. Hang on to the small town you love but you're leaving. Oh, you won't be a fool for so long. So hang on.
You are listening to our next guest. It's Need to Breathe with their new single, Hang On. Well, this episode is also brought to you by HelloFresh. You can get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouthwatering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door with HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh lets you skip those trips to the grocery store and makes home cooking fun, easy, and affordable. You can save time and stress effortlessly. HelloFresh offers contactless delivery to your doorstep for easy home cooking with the family, and it cuts out stressful meal planning and grocery store trips. They also can help you eat more sustainably. Pre-proportioned ingredients mean there's less prep for you and less food waste. And the packaging HelloFresh is in is made almost entirely of recyclable or already recycled content. HelloFresh has been incredibly delicious and convenient for me. I make it, have for years, love HelloFresh. And they make it easy and affordable for everyone. Go to HelloFresh.com/relevant80 and use the code relevant80 to get a total of $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. Additional restrictions apply. Please visit HelloFresh.com/relevant80 for more details. Well, Need to Breathe is a band from Southern California who's been hitting us with great music since the 2000s. If you want to go deep in the Relevant podcast archives, there's 813 episodes. I don't know exactly where it was, but I remember where we were. But this brand new band that was signed to Atlantic Records came through the Relevant podcast studio when we were under the ramp and had no air conditioning. And they played us some songs from their debut album here on the Relevant podcast. You should go check it out. It was like, okay, they're going to be good. I don't think we realized how big they would get, but we knew that they were good. Well, our very own Tyler Huckabee sat down with one of the band members, Bear Reinhardt, to talk about their upcoming new album coming out August 28th, Life on the Road, and working through your mental health through songwriting. Here's part of our conversation with Bear Reinhardt from Need to Breathe.
Know that I'm fine. I can't keep from hiding. Don't have a choice, but I get stuck deciding. I am a man in need of constant.
We've had to like move a lot of the single stuff. It's like there's just so much going on in the world beyond, you know, the pandemic stuff that it's like, man, to be sensitive during this time. And you know how when you're putting records out, you've decided what's supposed to happen months from now. And then of course, like 2 days before some major event happens, it's like, oh no, we got to, you know, somehow move this around or slot it differently. So it's been cool, you know, to feel like the music is more reactionary to the world. as opposed to just like, oh, we're just, I mean, I've never had a conversation, I don't think, where, you're talking about songs to put it out. And we're like, this is a timely song for now, as much as I have for this. It feels like kind of moved our whole release thing around what's happening in the world, which is interesting.
We're in for nasty weather, and I'll ride it out with you. We won't be riding highs and lows like tides of ocean blue. We won't be here forever, just a moment then we're through.
We've tried to avoid being like, I'm trying to think of the right word, disrespectful to the way certain people believe just because we wanted to. Just because I was like, well, this is like my prerogative. So, how do you, when you make set lists, we never wanted to be that band that's like, didn't play the hits. It's like, I just didn't understand that because I didn't like that when bands were like that. So I don't want to be like that. So there's an element to that I think that we try to adhere to when we're thinking about it. But at the same time, you can't worry about offending people. I think it just, even on our deal, it's like, if we don't do it, we offend people. If we do it, we offend people. And, I really, in some ways, am embarrassed about, sort of how these responses go, especially online. I know it's such a small percentage of our audience, but we can put one little thing up. It's not even this crazy, we put the black box up on the day, the record, whatever, which is not that much. We donated some money to causes that we felt like, we're in line with what we believe. And then they there's branched off conversations right now, that are very racially charged going on our threads. And that's obviously the last thing we want, which I hate that part. I hate the sort of divisive part of so anyway, we're wandering through it, I think, like everybody else is, trying to do the right thing and listen and learn and also try to lead.
While I'm on this road, you take my hand somehow. You really love who I really am. I push you away, still you won't let go. You grow your roses on my barren soul. Who am I to be loved by you? Who am I to be loved by you?
What I went through in the last couple of years was this personal work, and I think a lot of that played into how I wrote. And I don't think you ever really arrive at it. I think it's more, when I get that feeling of panic, or that feeling of when I walk into a room and I'm like, man, I'm the worst. I don't belong in here. I have more tools to fight that, if that makes sense. I feel like for me, I'm always thinking kind of 3 steps down the road. And in music, I just feel like you can't do that. You have to be such a kid in a way. And so I think I allowed myself to be like that. I had a counselor ask me, when do you think you're your best in life? And I was like, well, on stage at times, and this doesn't happen all the time, but there's times when you kind of lose where you are. It's like, my feet aren't really touching the ground. I don't know what song we're in. I don't know. You know what I mean? You're just in that moment. Go back and watch it, and I'm like, I can't believe I was on cruise control on that. You're in the flow or whatever you want to call it. And he was like, well, why aren't you like that more often? And I was like, okay, that's something I got to work on for the next 10 years.
When you lose, when you rise, when you don't feel strong enough, everybody needs to pick me up, and you can count on me. Come what may, come what might, everybody falls down sometimes. Don't lose hope, it'll be alright. You can count on me, yeah, you can count on me. When you're feeling,
It's Needtobreathe is all the songs are songs about the redemption story. It's just very few of them are about the end part. It's all the mess in between. I'm a big Richard Rohr fan. He's like, there's as much grace in the death as there is the resurrection, right? So we're mostly talking about death. it's like, but that in a good, positive way. It just, I think that's kind of where our band lands. And that's been comforting to me. I've always felt like I didn't want to put a bow on it or figure it out for everybody or teach people with whatever. But I think kind of understanding like there is a path that we're on, or journey that we're on, and Needtobreathe just talks about this part, like we want to walk with you through, that element, have a conversation with you in that rough time.
You keep me waiting, shaking, trembling, chasing mistakes that I made. Which words did I say? Oh, I can't take it. I need you right now, but you keep me waiting.
That was Needtobreathe. Make sure to check out their new album, Out of Body, when it releases August 28th. And check out more of that conversation at relevantmagazine.com. Stay tuned. Up next, it's Slices. You're listening to Fern. The song is Quicksand. It's not Fern from Social Club Misfits. It's, you just heard it. It's very clearly not Fern from Social Club Misfits.
What? It's not?
It's lowercase. It's lowercase
f. A different lane, man.
Lowercase FERN. All right. This week's podcast is also brought to you by American Awakening. A healthy and united America is truly possible, and it starts with us. In his new book, John Kingston, who you heard here on the podcast last week, draws on wisdom from history, science, faith, and culture, along with his own experiences, to offer 8 principles for discovering purpose, meaning, and true community. American Awakening, 8 Principles to Restore the Soul of America by John Kingston is available everywhere books are sold right now. Just came out. Visit AmericanAwakening.us for more info. Okay, it's time for
Slices.
All right, now, Jesse, I know what you're about to bring is actually going to set up our next segment, but you're going first, like always, because I'm a creature of habit. So what do you have, Jesse?
All right. So obviously there's a lot going on in the world that has consumed our news cycle for very, very good reasons. I think it's the press has rightfully dedicated a lot of time and discussion to, kind of the protests and civil unrest around the country and highlighting racial injustice. The news about a global pandemic has also been a major thing in the news cycle. Both of those, I think, are worthy of a lot of public attention and discussion. But there has been another major story that I think, could potentially, in the scope of human history, not just in the scope of kind of the, things that are happening kind of in the moment and social issues in the United States, that could be looked at as pretty significant, that has really flown under the radar. And I wanted to discuss some developments in the story that actually unfolded this week. And some of the revelations and the things that I'm going to talk about right now are so mind-blowing that I honestly can't believe that this isn't leading a lot of news discussion. I'm not saying it should take away from any other coverage, but I do think this is worthy of something that people should be aware of.
It should have a seat at the table. It should at least be people should be aware this is happening.
So back in June, a bill was introduced to lawmakers that would make some disclosures of a Senate Intelligence Committee subgroup actually, have to release some information to the public. And the Intelligence Authorization Act actually calls for these revelations to be made by the fiscal deadline in 2021. So at the end of the fiscal year in 2021, these revelations will have to be made official. Now, what are these revelations about? Well, it's about a secret group within the United States government that has been operating in plain sight for decades now on what they call an unidentified aerial phenomenon. So the reason why this kind of has flown under the radar a little bit is because a lot of people thought that this group was no longer operational. It made some headlines years ago when it was disclosed that Senator Harry Reid had set aside it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 million in the budget for a group within the government to study what they're calling, like I said, unidentified aerial phenomena. Now, the kind of after this was discovered, because this wasn't a classified group, but the way that they were operating was, like I said, essentially hiding in plain sight. They named the allocation for the money something kind of ambiguous, so no one really worried about it until some enterprising reporters said, "Hey, what's this extra $20 million actually going to here?" Now, the New York Times ran a story this week. So what I'm telling you, what I'm about to bring this week is not from some fringe website that I may or may not stumble upon some deep Reddit rabbit hole sometimes on the dark web. This is from the New York Times. So they released a story this week that talks about how lawmakers are pushing them to disclose what they found, and those disclosures should come by 2021. Now, in the report, they talked to a lot of people, including a contractor who's an astrophysicist. Okay. So the government contracted an astrophysicist to examine some of the findings of this group. And here's what he told the New York Times. This comes from a Fox story about this report. And then I'll read something from the New York Times. But it says a government contractor told the Times that he gave a classified briefing to the Department of Defense in March. Okay. This is recent. This is in
March of 2020.
Yes. This year, describing retrievals from, and this is his quote, off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. Okay.
This wasn't a Tesla or something.
Is that abductions? Is what he's talking about?
So his name is Eric W. Davis, and now I'm going to read from the New York Times report. Again, this is the New York Times. Eric W. Davis, an astrophysicist who worked as a subcontractor and then a consultant for the Pentagon for the Pentagon UFO program since 2007, said in some cases, examination of the materials had failed to determine their source and led them to conclude we couldn't make it ourselves. That's a quote. The constraints on discussing classified programs and the ambiguity of information cited in unclassified slides from the briefing have put officials who have studied UFOs in the position of stating their views without presenting hard evidence. Mr. Davis, who now works for Aerospace Corporation, a defense contractor, said he gave a classified briefing to the Defense Department. And this is where he made the comment about off-world vehicles. Harry Reid, who is, he's a lawmaker, former, was he Speaker of the House? He's Senate Majority Leader, Harry Reid, he's the one who initially kind of earmarked that $20 million. This is from the New York Times. Harry Reid said, more should be made public to clarify what is known and what is not known. It is extremely important that information about the discovery of physical materials or retrieved craft come out. They're conceding that they have a retrieved craft with materials of no known terrestrial origin. These are the greatest minds in defense and in science saying we can't explain how this material was made. We have retrieved the wreckage of a craft with technology that we don't understand. This story is totally flying under the radar for reasons that I don't understand. Like, everyone should be like, guys, they're telling us they found a UFO and they're going to give us the details next year. They just hired this astrophysicist to explain it to them. It's coming out next year. We should all be stoked about this. How is nobody caring or talking? Do you guys share my enthusiasm? And my mind is totally like, I've always had my thoughts about this topic. You guys know that, but this is government officials conceding, guys, we're going to have to, we're pressuring this department. We're going to lay out some cards on the table next year. Does anyone else think this is not crazy? Am I the only one?
I've already told you that this stuff stresses me out and I don't have enough room in my brain to think about UFOs and everything else I have to think about. And so I'm just going to, Jesse, you just tell me everything I need to know. And that's all I need to hear. I cannot go down researching. Where did they find this material? Phoenix, Seattle, where are they finding this?
So a lot of those details are classified. But the basically what's happening right now is, this shadow group inside the Defense Department has been operating for decades. But because of, like I said, partly because of enterprising journalists, partly because of leaks that were initially illegal, but the Air Force eventually conceded were authentic of, these fighter jet pilots encountering strange crafts in the sky. And because the way that this group chose to operate wasn't in secret, they figured that the best way to keep themselves secret, like I said, was to be operating in plain sight. All those strategies are now catching up to the government, because what they realize now is we have to disclose something, because the cat's sort of out of the bag here. So that's why Harry Reid, who has been fascinated with this topic for a long time and actually allocated some money to try to find out more, help kind of push this through, so that now it's going to be required by 2021 for the public to get some disclosure about what's been found here.
When you say operate in plain sight, you mean they just have an office, but it has a weird name that nobody cares to think about or what it is, so nobody asks any questions?
They're the Men in Black. You're saying that the Men in Black is real.
I mean, Jamie, honestly, essentially, they were operating, they earmarked, they have a term for it in government spending. Basically, if, let's say there's so here's an example. Let's say they're going to push through a $900 million defense budget, right? And everything in that budget is line item with high tech names that, the average lawmaker isn't going to read, much less understand. If it wasn't for an earmarked 20 million of a giant defense budget, be someone saying, hey, what is this again?
Right.
This probably could have flown under the radar for even more time, but the cat's out of the bag. But don't you guys think this should be a way bigger story, or is it just me?
Have y'all watched the new TV show on Netflix with The Office?
Space Force.
Space Force. This is what this makes me think of. Space Force. Like they have this whole. You haven't seen it?
I gave up after 2 episodes.
I pushed all the way through, and it ended with its best episode, but it still was terrible.
So Jamie, you got too much on the noodle. I can't.
This is just too much. I can't. I don't have time in my life to think about this. But Derek, you like this, don't you?
Look, man, Kanye's running for president. Diamond and Silk are at the RNC. I don't have time to be talking about no aliens. There's more pressing matters that are in front of us than there being extraterrestrials and the United States knowing all about this and having that in their possession, and probably made the cell phone, the Tesla, and it's probably time travel and all those things. I don't care, man. I need to know what Diamond and Silk are going to say with Ted Nugent. So no, I don't have time for this.
I read a pretty deep dive on this week after I read the Times article, and I haven't dug into the corners of the web that Jesse has, but it's kind of like acknowledged that throughout history there's all this recorded evidence of extraterrestrial encounters and ancient Egyptian records. Some people would interpret some things that happen in the Bible as this. This just goes back. That is it really that odd that to acknowledge that they've been here for a long time and that we're not alone in the universe. And it's just now that we're getting some confirmation, it's just like, but this shouldn't be like shocking. It's been right in front of us all this time, So
Jesse, if they put out, somehow you got on the list, I don't know how, and they said, we're taking volunteers to go up into this spaceship that we've discovered that is going to take you to another planet to where there's, all the things. Yeah. Would you say yes?
I mean, look, I think most space travel is super lame and boring. like astronaut stuff is really, but if you're like, dude, you can go into another world to see what this is all about. Heck yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like I don't know if again, I watch a lot of weird stuff on not just Netflix, on everything. But it's like they have this this interview with this guy, Bob Lazar, and he kind of rose the documentary. Became
I know that documentary.
You probably saw
crazy.
He was a guest on Joe Rogan a while ago, which kind of propelled the documentary to some notoriety. But essentially this guy is an engineer who claims that back in, I think it was the early 80s, late 70s, that the government hired him as a consultant to go and basically work on parts of this retrieved craft that we've been working on for decades, that they have engineers working independently of each other on different parts so that no one knows all the answers as part of this shadow campaign but he was basically explaining from an engineering perspective about what we kind of understand about the technology and how again, I have no idea if he's just making it all up. He could be, but it's certainly made for a compelling documentary. But when you hear about the technology, how he describes it, like the way that they move in these videos that have been released seem more conceivable, because they're essentially pulling. It's almost like, you guys read Wrinkle in Time, I'm sure, when we were, kids in school. The concept of that book is based on, Einstein's principle that space and time are a singular fabric together. Like space time, it's not space and time, it's space time, one word, and it is a fabric that our universe operates within. It is a linear thing. But like in Wrinkle in Time, if you had 2 points on a sheet, one at the footboard, one at the headboard, there's two ways to connect those 2 points. If you wanted to travel to one end or the other, one is you could walk the whole distance of the sheet. And that's basically what modern engineering does. Just figure out ways to get you to go really fast from point A to point B, or you can bend the sheet and bring point A to point B without actually physically traveling. And basically how Bob Lazar describes it in this documentary is that that their crafts are able to bend gravity in a way that pulls 2 points of space-time together instantaneously beyond our perception.
My head just exploded.
I don't even know what you're saying.
All the answers are coming next year, people. All the answers.
Well, and all the answers are going to come in our next segment when astrobiologist and minister Lucas Nix breaks it all down for us. So,
and I've instructed Tyler to pull no punches in that conversation. Ask him the hard questions. When are we going to see them aliens? That's what we want to know, man.
That's how he's going to lead. When are we going to see them aliens?
Run them aliens, boy.
All right, what do you have, Jamie?
Okay, so even when you're talking about that, Jesse, it makes me think of I imagine like someone like Sydney Bristow. Remember Alias back in the day? Like, she said she's like a banker, but she's not a banker. She's like going out and, kicking butt and taking names.
Yeah.
These guys who worked on this, what do they tell their wives? I'm just going to work, but they're actually like digging through alien like vehicles. That's so weird to me. Okay, so that leads to my story. Is Taylor Swift had an album drop this last week, which, first of all, how do you drop and how does nothing like that leak? Does everyone sign non-disclosures or what?
Yeah, I mean, Beyonce does it. It's kind of the thing now.
If you want to work in the music industry, you're not going to leak anything that Taylor is. If you ever want a job again, you're not going to leak anything.
I feel like there's like a guy who delivers FedEx to the studio and then he sees Taylor there. And, I'm just always surprised. I'm like, how does this stuff not come out? So Taylor Swift releases her album last week. I have listened to most of it and enjoy it. But here's the story is Aaron Dessner, who is the guitarist for The National. He co-wrote and produced 11 of the 16 songs. So he worked really closely with Taylor on this album. And, he's having to keep it a secret because it's a secret from everyone. And he said one morning, his 8-year-old daughter just randomly out of the blue asked his dad, just a random simple question, Dad, do you know Taylor Swift? And he said that just the night before they had co-written a song together. And he straight up looked at his daughter and was like, nope. Don't know her. And then that was it. Because he was like, listen, my daughter is not going to leak this album out to the world. So he totally just straight up lied to his daughter.
He's not going to apologize for his love for America.
For my Taylor Swift. For my passion for America. Yes. Is that what you're asking about here? Daughter?
Right. So, I was actually going to ask you guys, because you guys have interviewed and a bunch of people. Is there anybody that you have either interviewed or been on a stage with or just know in life that your kids would freak out about if they would that be a big deal to them?
Okay. This is honest truth. Back before Derek and I had just met a couple times. My son and I were driving to dinner, and on the Christian hip hop station that was streaming, Derek Minor was on our screen. Derek, and my son's a big fan of Derek Minor, and we were just jamming out to Derek, and Derek texted me at that moment. And I just looked at my son and I just turned my phone so he could see the name of who just texted me. His jaw dropped. I mean, it was great. So, I told Derek, I was like, you just made me the coolest guy.
I think my kids are really young. And so when Toy Story 4 was coming out, I guess it was last year, I had just done a long interview with Tony Hale, who is Sporky in the movie, who plays a major roll. And my kids thought that was pretty cool. But the greatest thing about that interview with Tony Hale was the stuff that I didn't end up using just because, it wasn't all that relevant to the story. But he told me a great anecdote, which I probably should have put it in there. But he used to live in the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area, like back in the day. He went to school at graduate school at Regent. And so he was telling me, he was like, hey, do you know where that place Nauticus is? And Nauticus is a naval museum. Okay. It's a museum about the Navy and boat stuff. They have some stuff for kids there, but it's not generally like a place. It's like, hey, I'm just going to spend the day at the Naval Museum. But he's like, dude, I worked at Nauticus and I was the guy who greets people as they come in the front door, like, hey, welcome to the museum. Have a great time today. And for some reason, tourists who are in town to go to like Virginia Beach, like the beach, like something happened in how Nauticus was listed on Google, and people were showing up thinking they were going to a water park. And that summer, he stood there. He was like, family after family with towels thrown over their shoulder in bathing suits would walk up, and I had to break it to families that this is not a water park. This is a naval museum. And he's like, that was my whole summer there, was basically telling people this is not a water park. And I was
is
like,
hilarious.
That's a sad job, but I can't think of a nicer person to do it than Tony Hale.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. A couple whenever we had a couple of years ago, South by, Prop was in town and him and some of his guys stayed at our house because we were out of town because we leave when these things go on. And he left a drum. What is it? A shield? A drum? I don't know. Drum shield. Yep. And he signed it and left it on one of my kids' beds. They still think that's like the coolest thing that's ever happened in their entire lives.
That's fire.
All right. What do you have, Derek?
Man, well, this is actually out. This might be the most rapperish, ghetto-ish
I'm so ready for this.
I'm ready, man.
Slice ever. A man in South Florida who received $4 million from the federal government. He didn't use it on his business. My man bought a Lambo.
I saw that.
He bought a what?
Lamborghini.
He bought an orange Lamborghini. And he was flexing for Miami, letting everybody know he the boss. Now he got 3 felonies sitting on his head.
Because you can't take that money and buy a car.
Listen, man. Listen, I'm not advocating stealing from anyone. But you don't steal from Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam is coming for your head, buddy. So I'm like, I hope it was worth it. I hope that, all the Instagram photos and the models you picked up, and I hope he had the time of his life because, I mean, first you're going to have to give the Lambo back. And
the crazy thing is that guys like that are screwing up, the ability for the government to work with small businesses this fall because the first wave of aid was rushed and there was not a lot of oversight and guys were doing that. I mean, not everybody, obviously, but stories like that did happen. And now everybody's like paralyzed on Capitol Hill. Everybody's paralyzed about that happening again. And it's taxpayer money being wasted. And
that's a lot of money that he got too, though. That seems a little high.
$4 million is crazy. Like, to me, I'm thinking he already had a pretty decent business, and it's probably he just took the money and did something.
Company car,
Come on, fam. Like, what are you thinking? And that's Fed time. So Fed time, you got to serve 90%.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So he's going to jail. He's going to jail.
Yeah. Fed time is not, you don't get out no good behavior. It's like 90%. That's you in there. So,
it is the most conspicuous car you could possibly purchase. Like,
no one will notice.
Yeah, even if he had gone, even if he had said like a Maserati, it's supposed to be like, hey, business is good. You got a Maserati. You know what I mean? But a Lambo is basically a middle finger to the government. Like, a Lambo. I did the Lambo thing because a Lambo, you can't even pick groceries in. Like, there's no purpose for having a Lamborghini than the flex. Like, that is all someone buys a Lamborghini for,
That's great. All right. Well, that'll do it for
Slices.
The moment is here. Stay tuned. Astrobiologist and Minister Lucas Mix comes up next.
Alina, was just trying to provide for her family when she heard of an amazing job opportunity away from her home in a small village in South Asia. But when she arrived, her phone was taken away and she was put into a brothel with no means of escape. But what if someone had been there to stop that from happening? Love Justice International strategically places their teams in 15 countries around the world to intercept people like Alina and prevent them from being trafficked into slavery. Love Justice stops the evil before it happens. Because even just now, while I've been talking for 60 seconds, 2 people have been trafficked somewhere in the world. Learn how you can help keep her free at lovejustice.ngo/relevant. Don't miss out on the exclusive report for Relevant listeners that shows the impact Love Justice is making in the fight against modern-day slavery. That's lovejustice.ngo/relevant.
This ain't by design, girl. Take it softer, you know. I'm out my mind, girl. Don't make this harder. Come and light my fire, baby. How much longer till December? Say what you really mean.
You're listening to Eve Toomer. The song is Gospel for a New Century. Reverend Lucas Mix is an astrobiologist who has taken an interest in both science and religion. For 15 years now, he's worked with the NASA Astrobiology Institute and also worked as a researcher at Harvard. We're bringing the big guns, folks. Our very own Tyler Huckabee sat down with him this week to talk about the recent UFO news, the implications that has on Christian theology, and more at the intersection of faith and science. Here's part of our conversation with astrobiologist and Reverend Lucas Mix.
So you have a foot in 2 worlds. Your expertise is A, in theology, and B, in science. Give me your origin story there. How did this happen?
Yeah, I love studying the world and the big picture. So I did my bachelor's degree in biochemistry and comparative religion at the University of Washington. Went on to get a doctorate in evolutionary biology at Harvard. And I discovered about halfway through my doctorate that I liked talking to scientists about God, and maybe this was a sign. So I started the discernment process and immediately went from my doctorate to seminary, became a priest in the Episcopal Church, and I have been looking for ways to exercise both ministry and scientific expertise ever since.
Okay, can you tell me about aliens?
I love talking about aliens. Well, there's a couple things here. I feel like I have a responsibility as a scientific authority and a theological authority to say that there isn't any particular evidence of non-human intelligent life out there. And so all these stories about people visiting us or experimenting on us, I don't get too excited about those because I don't see them tying up with reality. On the other hand, I love fiction. And the stories that we tell about aliens are, of course, the stories we tell about our neighbors. And so sometimes aliens are a really safe way to talk about how we treat our neighbors and who we trust and why, and how we think about non-human life. So for me, talking about aliens is a great and often non-threatening way to get at some of the most fundamental questions. And beyond that, the possibility that I could meet someone who genuinely had a different perspective than I did, that just thrills me. So I'm looking for aliens. I want to find aliens.
So even just from the purely hypothetical level here, what what would extraterrestrial life mean for theology?
There has been an argument about this for at least 2,500 years. Maybe for Christian theology, we should stick with 2,000. But it has to do with a long-standing debate about our relationship with God. And I think there are a lot of people out there who want to be reassured that God has a special attention for us and for our planet, which I certainly think God does. But I think also that God is big enough that God can have other kids that God pays attention to as well. So we'd sort of come face to face, if we met aliens, with other beings capable of having the kind of relationship with God that we do. And I think that would be tremendously good for us. Of course, it will be a readjustment, but honestly, I think it's more of an emotional readjustment than it is an intellectual readjustment. There's some great work out there from Nicholas of Cusa in the Middle Ages to C.S. Lewis, to even more recent theologians about the theological significance of aliens. And so that's been done, and we've talked a lot about that.
What are some of those conversations? What are some of the conversations happening in the theological sphere right now?
There's a wonderful man by the name of Guy Consolmagno, who is the head of the Vatican Observatory. And Brother Guy likes to say Christians are perfectly comfortable with non-human intelligences. We call them angels, and we've been talking about them for a long time. And so just looking at the Bible, just looking at Christian stories, we have a lot of commentary on what it means to have other intelligent beings worshiping God. And lo and behold, the first thing we're usually told is, don't worry, be not afraid, which probably suggests that it's a scary experience, but that we don't need to be scared of it, and that God really does work in ways beyond human understanding to make the world a better place than humans know how to hope for. What could be better than coming face to face with that?
Okay, so given the fact that this is all hypothetical and that we don't really know one way or the other, what does the possibility even of alien life mean for us now here, living in the world today?
It challenges us to think about our relationship with God. So just switching to science for a moment, I've been doing astrobiology for 25 years. That's the study of life at the planetary scale. And in astrobiology, we think about what's interesting about life on Earth that we're looking for something similar elsewhere. Because we know it's going to be a little different. The common joke is life, Jim, but not as we know it. We know it's going to be different. So what is it exactly about human life that interests us? And that turns out to reveal a lot about us. We're interested about the way we order our environment. We're interested in the way we grow and evolve, both as individuals and as a species. We're interested in this marvelous interconnection between all living things on Earth. And so all of those are, I guess, lenses through which we can look into the universe and say, is there more of this out there? But every time we do that, we better understand what it is here that we value.
That was Reverend Lucas Mix. Go read the rest of that conversation right now at relevantmagazine.com.
Would you walk with me? We could run away. We could fall in love.
You're listening to Peyton featuring Steve Lacy. The song is Verbs. All right, Jesse, did you learn something?
I'm a sponge when it comes to this stuff. Soaked it, every drop of it in. I also have, can I just say one thing about the Lambo conversation real quick? Do you know the closest I've come to a Lambo? And probably I can speak to a lot of people that were around my same age. It's the Scholastic Book Fair when I'm in elementary school. It was like, I'm getting that Goosebumps book and I'm getting that Lambo poster. Like every year, it was nothing but exotic car posters and like Goosebumps books. And it was like, dude, I got to save up. I got to get a new Lambo poster for the bedroom. Like green Lambos.
Did you really have a Lambo poster in your childhood bedroom?
Oh, heck yeah, man. How could you not when you're at the book fair? You're like, it's either Fighter Jet or Lambo. And
did you have a Michael Jordan poster?
Everybody had a Michael Jordan poster. Everyone had the one of Bo Jackson where he's like, he's got the baseball. Everybody had that. There's like 5 posters that every kid born between like 1979 and 1986 had. One was the black and white one that was vertical with Jordan holding like 2 basketballs, arms stretched out. Yeah. One was just a generic Jordan on the court. You know, one was a Lambo poster. And one was the Bo Jackson with the red
Ferrari poster. I mean, there was always
it was you were either red Ferrari or Lambo. It was either you would get one of those two. Obviously,
I would have had like
Lambo.
the Saved by the Bell cast is what would have been on my wall had I been that one. And I'd also be the mom that the kid comes home. I'm like, you use my money to buy a poster. You owe me. Give me my $3 back right now. You need to buy books.
I will not apologize for my passion for the United States of America or for orange Lambos, Mom.
I was a Charles Barkley fan, and in 1990. 3, 4, somewhere in there, he won the MVP. It was in Jordan's prime. It should have been Jordan. Maybe it's mid 90s, but it was almost like the media was tired of giving the MVP to Jordan year after year, and so they gave it to Charles Barkley when he was with the Suns. And I was a big Barkley fan, so I got a poster of Barkley after he won the MVP, and it said, "You never forget your first." And I, as a teenager, of course, got the double entendre of that. But being a good Christian youth group kid with conservative parents, knew that I couldn't acknowledge what I knew what it meant. And my mom saw it on my wall and immediately made me take it down. And I played dumb, like, what do you mean? It's his first MVP. It's just memorable. Right. I got in trouble. No posters after that. All right. It is time for your feedback. Last week, we got talking about sports, actually, and the quarantine sports. They all kicked up this week. There was an outbreak in Major League Baseball with a bunch of weird fake fans. And it was just a bizarre thing that Major League Baseball did.
Do you like the fake fans?
Oh, no. It was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the cardboard cutout fans, but then there was also ones where they had like video game fake fans, like trying to do the wave, but it was glitching.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. It was really weird. It was not good. Basketball starting up this week officially when this show comes out. It's the first real games of the NBA season. And Major League Soccer is happening right now with their tournament. So we got talking last week about ways to spice up fanless sporting events right now. Jesse had a lot of ideas, and we asked you some of your ideas for ways you would spice up fanless quarantine sports. You hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast, and you also sent messages to the Relevant Magazine Instagram account. Here are a few of our favorites.
Okay, this is from Kevin. Once a team is officially eliminated from playoff contention, a random fan gets chosen to coach the rest of the season to see if they can really do better. I love that because it eliminates tanking. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that is one surefire way to eliminate any of these teams tanking. It's like, okay, you're out of contention. Let's see if some random Joe from a lottery can do better than you can, insert terrible coach here,
I like this one from Noah Starkson. He said, somebody should hide a little Waldo cutout every game amongst the fan cutouts. Then the announcers work to find it throughout the game. But then he said for baseball, he said, get rid of the net behind the plate. I want to see a foul tip blast through a cutout's face.
I saw that happen with a home run. Apparently a home run went out and it took the head off of a cardboard.
It's so weird.
Person. Yeah.
It is unsettling and incredibly lame as well.
Okay, so you guys know that we record this on midweek, and so the NBA season starts on Friday. I've heard reports that one of the things the NBA is doing, the courts that they've set up are like surrounded with these massive screens. And so they're customizing the game experience for the home team, and they're doing crowd noise and all this other stuff. And they keep adding bells and whistles to the in-game experience. And one of the things I heard in the last few days was each team will be able to have 300 live fans virtually. So these 300 fans for that home team will get a special live feed that's instant. It's not the TV delay. And their faces will be projected on the huge screens like live reacting to the game.
So it's like a Zoom call with the game.
Yes. So I hit up my ticket rep for the Orlando Magic last night and said, how do I get in on this? And she wrote back, and I sent Jesse the screenshot. She wrote back and said, you're getting an email tomorrow.
Yo!
So me heckling the refs might be on the screens for the NBA. Who knows? By the time this episode's out, that will have been determined, but I'm very excited. I keep refreshing my email while we're recording.
So I know how Major League Baseball just had 12, 14 players on the Marlins test positive earlier this week.
Yeah,
has anything happened with NBA players?
They test daily. 346 players are in the NBA bubble, 0 positives. They have done it. Because
they're actually not leaving that bubble. Am I right?
Well,
Correct.
Unless they have an excused family absence for a funeral and show up in Instagram stories at a
strip club in
adult
Atlanta
entertainment facility. That's literally happened to him.
No,
I'm busted on IG.
Yeah,
my man Lou Will was tripping. He said he wanted some wings though. Magic City's supposed to have the best wings.
If an NBA player has to leave for a family emergency, they test every day while they're gone, and if they do that, then for the excused absence, when they come back, they only have to quarantine for 2 days, right, and have 2 clear tests back in the bubble. Lou Williams, because his venture was unexcused, is having to quarantine for 11 days, and he's going to miss some real games. So he's not.
Does he get fined for that?
I think he's going to lose the pay for the games that he missed. But yeah,
that was just. Hey, look, you know what? I would be quiet because I'm like, look, man, to have that much money to be like, you know what? I'm going to go to this funeral and I'm going to stop by Magic City, get some wings and call it a day. I don't know, man.
Here's one from Twitter. Instead of sound effects from MLB, like from baseball, they basically said Major League Baseball should use sound effects from Wii Sports. So it's like, great job. Home run. Switch sides.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Honestly, it couldn't be any worse than what Major League Baseball is doing right now.
Man, let's see. I got every cutout fan is Dr. Fauci, so everyone will make sure they're socially distant.
just he's there, just watching you.
He's always watching,
judging. He's judging
judging you from.
Or how about you on the couch away from your wife?
Listen, how about you invite fans back in the stadium, but every other seat is a cardboard cutout of Dr. Fauci staring right at you. Like, you're here, but just let you know, I'm on both sides of you right now.
I love it. All right. Well, there's a lot more where that came from. Go check it out at Relevant Podcast Twitter account. Okay, it's time for this week's
editorial question of the week.
Well, piggybacking off Reverend Lucas Mix's conversation, we want to know this week for the question of the week what you think about the implications of the possibility of aliens being real, like the implications on your faith. Specifically, we want to hear from you about your thoughts about the intersection of faith and science in this specific lane. If extraterrestrial life is real, does that change your theology? Hit us up on Twitter if you have, you can do threads, I guess. Hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast, or you can message us at our Relevant Magazine IG account, and we'll read our favorites next week because I'm curious. I wanted to talk more about that side of it,
I love this topic.
The faith implications.
We could do a whole spin-off show on this, and I'd be down.
I'm with it. I'm Jesse, come on, man. We keep every time, but we don't do it.
Next week, we need to block out some extra time for feedback because we're going deep. We're digging deep, people.
I'm ready.
If any of you dare question my passion for the United States of America or my God, just in case that comes up, I just want to let you know where I stand on that.
My gosh.
Many thanks to Needtobreathe for joining us. Make sure to check out their new album, Out of Body, which I think is an extraterrestrial reference.
Oh, yeah. They're
It
Out of Body.
is.
It's coming out August 28th. Don't miss it. And many thanks to Reverend Lucas Mix for joining us as well. You can read more of that conversation with him and with Needtobreathe over at relevantmagazine.com. Well, on that note, we'll wrap things up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Jamie Ivey.
I'm Derek Miner.
We will see you next week unless the aliens come first.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, check out our Relevant Podcast Network, featuring shows like Relevant Daily, Signs of Life, Unedited, and many more launching throughout the year.
I'm getting that Goosebumps book and I'm getting that Lambo poster.
Relevant Podcast Network.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care. Go to Dutch.com to get vet care that is always there for just $92 a year.